Hey there, folks. Brian King here. Pardon my Kleenex fuzz. It's that time of year. I was having a talk with my coach, Vince Pugliese, this morning. And one thing that came up is he gives me advice on things to do to build my business. And I start doing it, but then I stop doing it. And I have a hard time getting the results. And I see this a lot with my clients with ADHD as well, that they start doing something that I suggest they do to help with their productivity and so on, and then they stop doing it. And this is a big criticism of people with ADHD, that you start things for a while, but then you stop doing them. And in my case, one of the main reasons, and I was just reminded of this when talking to Vince this morning, is that my working memory is atrocious. And pardon the birdies over here. You got Tiny Tim on one end and you got Echo on the other. So hopefully it's not too distracting. But working memory is that part of our memory that allows us to recall what it is we know. And most importantly, recall it when we need it in the moment. And for those of you who have encountered test anxiety, whether it's high school, college, or have had a blank mind when the test shows up. You've studied, you know it, but at test time, you draw a blank. That's a working memory issue. Because when under stress, your working memory goes in the toilet and you have a hard time accessing what it is you know. And in my case, one of the things I run into often is that my brain just simply lacks the capacity to recall things when I need it, unless, and here's the big unless, there's some kind of trigger to help me remember what I know. In modern tests, multiple choice sometimes helps, or essay, or however they test these days, fails to give sufficient triggers to help kids with ADHD recall what it is they know. In my particular case, I recall best by thinking it out loud, by talking it through. And by recalling maybe the circumstances under which I learned it, or talking to somebody else about it, something triggers. Like when I try to remember a conversation I had with somebody, I'll ask them to remind me what it is we talked about. Then they'll start reviewing it, then they'll say something that reminds them, like, oh yeah, that's what we discussed. So the things that I really need to remember, I take a lot of notes on so that I can go back to those notes to prompt me what it is I know. One thing I have difficulty with is remembering what I know in real time. So sometimes I'm even working with clients and they'll ask me a question or they'll have a difficulty and I'll know right then and there, I know something that can help. I just can't remember what it is. So I make a note and let my brain slowly process it. And maybe a couple hours later, maybe the next day, it hits me. Yeah, that's what they need. And then I tell them what it is they need to know. And that's something I need to allow myself, because there are too many people, and school teaches us this, that you have to have the answer now. Have it immediately when I ask the question. Have it when I call on you. There are a lot of us that simply lack the capacity to do that. It's not because we're not paying attention or because we're not focused. It's our brain doesn't recall what it is we know quickly. We need some time to recall it. So my clients are used to me getting back to them. Let me think about it. I'll let you know what I can come up with. And now I can record a video and send it off to them. And I can often give them a much more comprehensive answer later than I could in the moment, because I gave my brain time to kind of go through the files of what it is I know and recall it and give it to them. I mean, that's one of the beauties of the text coaching that I do with clients, is they'll text me an issue or ask me a question and I can ponder it a little bit, get a comprehensive response, and give it back to them. So I've constructed my life and my coaching in such a way that I can accommodate my working memory issue instead of trying to force myself to do it the way I'm supposed to do it. Because if I did it the way I'm supposed to, I'd be screwing up right and left. I'd be frustrated. I'd be beating myself up because I can't do it the way everybody else does it. Well, here's the reality. My brain doesn't do it the way everybody else does it. It does it its own way. And by understanding that and understanding what I need to do instead so that I can give people the same result, that's the key part. I can give people the same result. I just need to do it differently. I need a little time for my brain to process and catch up. I need time to formulate a comprehensive answer. Then I can give it to you. Anybody who has seen me present, and I know it's been a while, I do everything in an interactive way. I have a conversation with the audience. And one of the main reasons is this. People will ask me to put together a presentation. Well, in order to put together a presentation, I have to be able to remember what I know. I have a hard time remembering what I know. So sitting down and saying, well, of all the things I know, I'm going to cover A through D for this audience, and these are the specific bullet points that I'm going to handle. My brain doesn't do that. But here's what it does do. You ask me a question, and if I know the answer, I can give it to you right then and there because you triggered my memory. If I'm not sure about the answer, I will ask more questions. Tell me more about that. Give me a situation where this problem occurred. That's also a way of buying myself some time. While they're talking, I'm letting my memory process. I'm letting my brain go and find the information. So when they're done telling their story, I'm like, bam, there it is. Now I can give you your answer. Sneaky, huh? But effective. Because I know how to accommodate my brain and give it the time that it needs. So you see, there are ways to be successful in life with these difficulties, with these skill gaps. And now, in this age of technology, it is easier than ever to do it if you're willing to accept the fact that you have these difficulties, that you have to do it a different way, and doing it the way everybody else does it is not your path to success. Whoever said, we're going to hire a bunch of people that are a dime a dozen? Are you one of those folks? Yeah, okay, well, come on in. No, that's mediocrity. That's sameness. Society doesn't reward that anymore. It rewards the creative minds, the ones that are resourceful, the ones that have creative solutions to problems like the one I just laid out for you. So if your brain is a little quirky like this, get creative, figure out what you need to do in order to solve the problems that you have getting from point A to point D. Utilize those strategies, write them down so that you can do it consistently. The reason we fall off the horse, the reason we start off strong but then we stop doing it is because we stop reminding ourselves what it is we know to do that is effective. That's something that I really gained from my talk with my coach Vince this morning, is a lot of the stuff I know to do that he tells me, I start doing it at the time because it's fresh, but then I stopped doing it because I didn't write it down in such a way that I was repeatedly prompted to keep doing it. So I made a lot of notes this morning when he and I talked, and I'm going to keep doing this stuff consistently because now I have the reminders in place because my brain doesn't remember well or consistently on its own. So this is just this little share that I wanted to give you today. Hopefully it's been useful. If you know anybody else that can benefit from this, please share along so more people can benefit. If you have any questions on this, drop a comment below. And if you're watching the replay, put replay down there too. In any case, this has been Brian. Thank you for watching. We'll talk again soon. Thanks for being you.